Welcome everyone to Manage Engine Patch Tuesday webinar for the month of February 2025. Let's protect our systems, stay vigilant against threats, and ensure a safer digital space for the months ahead. This February, let's make security a priority because nothing says commitment like a well-patched system. With immense gratitude, we express our delight at having you all join us on this fine morning. Let's get ready for an insightful session. I'm Niveda, product expert at ManageEngine, and I'll be your presenter today. Alongside me, we have our patch pundits ready to engage with you in real time via chat. So please feel free to post your questions throughout the webinar. Kindly note that it will be a 60-minute webinar and it is being recorded. The recorded session will be sent to your registered email IDs in 2 to 3 working days. So what's on the agenda for today's session? First up, we will have a detailed breakdown of the Windows lifecycle as well as the end-of-life dates for the various Windows versions. Next, we'll be discussing the Patch Tuesday updates for the month of February. And then we'll also be demonstrating how you can simplify the patch management process for your network's endpoints using ManageEngine's patch management solution. Followed by that, we will also be sharing some of the best practices for patching that you can follow to perform patch management for your hybrid networks. And last but not the least, as always, we'll have a question and answer session wherein we'll be addressing all your queries. Moving on to the Windows lifecycle. If you're still running Windows 10, here's an important heads up. Its active support will officially end on October 14th, 2025. That means after that date, no more security updates or feature improvements. So if you haven't already, it's definitely time to start planning your upgrade to Windows 11 before support runs out. But don't worry. If you're already using Endpoint Central for patch management, you're in a great position to handle this transition smoothly. Let me walk you through how it can simplify the entire upgrade process for you. Let's jump into the console. On the home page, you'll see Zia's analysis. This feature is super helpful when making the move from Windows 10 to 11. It gives you insights like which Windows 10 devices are reaching end of life and which ones are ready to upgrade to Windows 11. Plus, you'll get other useful info to guide you along the way. For more details on how to get started, check out the links shared by our panelists in the chat. At ManageEngine, we're excited to share that you can easily initiate the feature pack update through Patch Manager Plus. Also, folks, we've put together an easy-to-follow guide on how to upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11 using ManageEngine Endpoint Central. Simply scan the QR code to watch it or check out the link we've shared in the chat. Several software applications are approaching their end of life soon. We've highlighted a few key ones, but it's important to stay informed about all outdated software running on your endpoints. To view the complete list of end-of-life software, along with their expiration dates, go to Threats and Patches, and Threats, and then High-Risk Software. This section provides detailed insights, helping you proactively identify and mitigate potential security risks before they become a threat to your environment. Let's move on to Patch Tuesday update breakdown now. So this time, there are 55 vulnerabilities, out of which 4 are also zero-day vulnerabilities. We'll be discussing them in the later slides, but taking a look at the breakdown, we see a total of 165 patches released to mitigate the 55 vulnerabilities. Also, if these vulnerabilities are left unpatched in your endpoints, they can cause 7 different kinds of impacts in your systems, which we'll also be discussing in detail in the following slides. So as I said earlier, there are 4 zero-day vulnerabilities released in this month's Patch Tuesday. Let me quickly show you where you would find zero-day vulnerability in our console. Let us navigate to the top menu, click on Threats and Patches. On the left pane, click on Threats and choose zero-day vulnerability. Now let me go ahead and fix this vulnerability in my system. Let us tick off the box and click on Install Patches. It will automatically take you to manual deployment. By applying all the necessary configurations, you can successfully patch this zero-day vulnerability. The zero-day vulnerability CVE 2025-21391 affects Windows storage, and this vulnerability causes elevation of privilege. This flaw allows attackers to delete files they shouldn't be able to, potentially disrupting services. While it doesn't expose sensitive data, it could be a headache for system admins. This has been assigned a CVSS rating of 7.1. The next vulnerability is CVE 2025-21418, found in Windows Ancillary Function Driver for WinSox, and this can cause elevation of privilege. System privileges are the golden ticket for attackers. Microsoft patched this actively exploited flaw, but details on real-world attacks remain a mystery. This has been assigned a CVSS rating of 7.8. The next zero-day vulnerability is CVE 2025-21194, found in Microsoft Surface, and this caused security feature bypass. A hypervisor vulnerability affecting virtual machines on UEFI hosts. If exploited, this could let attackers sidestep secure kernel protections, an alarming thought for virtualization security. This has been assigned a CVSS rating of 7.1. The last zero-day vulnerability is CVE 2025-21377, found in NTML hash disclosure, and this can cause spoofing. Just a single click or right-click on a malicious file could expose your NTML hash. This is another reminder that even small interactions with suspicious files can have big security consequences. This has been assigned a CVSS rating of 6.5. Now let us move on to the critical vulnerabilities. We have 3 critical vulnerabilities this month out of the 55 total vulnerabilities. We have 52 important vulnerabilities too. So let's talk in detail about the critical vulnerabilities, and all these vulnerabilities cause remote code execution. The critical vulnerability CVE 2025-21379 is a vulnerability affecting the DHCP client service. The DHCP client service enables the computer to automatically obtain network settings such as an IP address and gateway from a DHCP server. This vulnerability can be exploited through a machine in the middle attack, but is restricted to devices on the same network segment. It cannot be leveraged across multiple networks, limiting its impact to systems on the same switch or virtual network. Moving to the next critical vulnerability, it's CVE 2025-21376 affecting LDAP. Windows LDAP is a network protocol used for directory access, authentication, and single sign-on. To exploit this vulnerability, an attacker must win a race condition by sending a crafted request to a vulnerable LDAP server. If successful, this could trigger a buffer overflow, potentially allowing remote code execution. And lastly, we have CVE 2025-21381 affecting Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel, a core application in the Microsoft Office and Microsoft 365 suites, enables users to create, edit, and analyze data efficiently. A vulnerability in Excel could be exploited to execute remote code, potentially allowing attackers to run malicious commands on a targeted system. Now, speaking about the patches by impact, as we mentioned earlier, that if these vulnerabilities are left unpatched, they can have 7 different kinds of impacts on your systems. Starting with 21 causing remote code execution, 19 causing elevation of privilege, 9 causing denial of service, 2 causing spoofing, 2 causing security feature bypass, 1 causing tampering, and 1 information disclosure. Now let's take a look at the operating systems and the applications that have been affected this month. So as we saw earlier, there were a total of 55 vulnerabilities, out of which 37 have been found in Windows 10 in Microsoft Office, 4 in Developer Tools, 2 in Microsoft Azure, and 2 in other applications. Dear participants, if you want the entire information about the Patch Tuesday updates, you can directly refer to ManageEngine's Patch Tuesday forum post. Next, we are glad to tell you that out of all of the patches that have been released in February 2025 so far, we support total of 138 Microsoft patches. So you can deploy these 138 patches using ManageEngine Endpoint Central, Patch Manager Plus, and Vulnerability Manager Plus.